Ballard has a very interesting community feel to it. There's very much the history of the Scandinavian and the fishing village, and I do think people try very hard to keep that alive, and I'm glad that they do.
When I first lived in Ballard, it was very seedy, it was very industrial, and thank goodness some of that is still left.
Ballard, prior to 1907, was its own city. Over 100 years ago, when this was a quiet drinking village with a fishing problem, Ballard had that very authentic old world feel. They've been defiant and kind of being their own corner of this city, even as they've been incorporated into the larger city itself.
It was cozy, and all the little dives and shops, like Hattie's Hat and the smoke shop and all those, they're just crowding them out.
When we first lived there, you could walk down the streets of Ballard and you could hear Norwegian being spoken. There were Norwegian flags on the sidewalk, and you could go into several different shops and enjoy meat that had come from Norway, fish cakes. It's hard to get used to the fact that the shops in Ballard aren't here anymore. And now there's only Scandinavian Specialties.
Almost out of fish cakes again. Well, we're down to the bare bones, but fish cakes, that is bread and butter around here. My name is Björn Ruud. I've been the owner here of Scandinavian Specialties for 2 years. The first owner was actually a Norwegian sausage master who was trained in Norway, came over here, started this business in '62, and then my family bought it in 2000 and then sold it to me, and it's been in this location since that time. And I feel a bit of an honor having a chance to uphold a heritage of that sort. I think it's kind of a unique thing for somebody to get a chance at an old world heritage that is very much theirs, and then they get to kind of pass on a history of Norwegians in this part of the world. Legacy, culture, and family. My staff is family to me. My good customers who I know, they're family to me. We build that feeling of community here, and that's the centerpiece of this store. That's why I own this business. I'm not looking to get over on anybody. I go to sleep at night really well, even though I sell kind of expensive goat cheese, and it's a family vibe from my customers to my staff to everybody involved. I would like to think that this store has lasting impact and can kind of hearken to this heritage of this neighborhood and speak to it for the future. It's sad to say, unlikely for a store like mine to be successful in 50 years. But I'm also an optimist, and I think that if the story is given, if the story is sung properly, if the marketing between myself, the museum, the Swedish Club, Leif Erikson Lodge, the other clingers on to ancient Scandinavian Seattle can stay in cahoots and continue promoting this thing, and if this can be marketed in the proper way, we can still have appeal.
I would be devastated if it goes away. I want to hang on to some of this.
I remember as a kid, you'd go down to Market Street, and right like kind of in front of Penny's there, all the men would kind of like meet out and talk. It was kind of like a little gathering area. And up north on 15th here, there was Norwegian bakeries and places down there. They'd shop every Saturday.
It's almost like a different town completely. It just, the warmth and coziness are going away. All the buildings look like cracker boxes and they're all the same color. Ugly yellow and green. And if they're sold, they're torn down and one of those ugly looking places is put in there. It ruins the whole neighborhood.
I think the whole Market and 15th area with the loss of Sunset Bowl and even the Denny's and Louis Chinese restaurant and just the way that whole intersection looked, and now it looks like a completely different city. And I think that's been hard on a lot of people to just see those things go so quickly.
The atmosphere has definitely changed, at least for me it has. It's not, the same.
I got the call on the 17th of May, which is Norwegian Constitution Day, and it's a big day here in Ballard. And I got the call that morning and said, yeah, the property's been sold. No further information. Well, of course, it's sold to a developer. Of course, I'll be gone as soon as this, as soon as he decides, as soon as he gets his permitting in place. A couple weeks after that, when it kind of became public knowledge that the sale had gone through, King 5 came in and they did an interview with me here in the store.
Every day, Björn Ruud works to keep history alive. But the future of the store is now uncertain, which has left him and his customers wondering what's next.
Apparently enough people saw it. They tracked down who the new owner was, and started calling him the next morning saying they were going to picket out in front of my store and stuff like that. And he came up here literally as I opened the door, comes in and says, hey, I'm not going to develop for at least 5 years. I'm not saying that's not part of my future plan, but there's going to be 5 years of us not doing that. So being able to continue on here in this particular location for at least another 5 years is huge for me, because I don't know if I'd be able to survive or afford moving to another place here in Ballard. You can look at different cultural enclaves in places like New York's and Chicago's, and they may still kind of be able to protect the Polish district in this certain area. But if the market came in and the real estate value was such, it would change.
I think when it happens more slowly, people, of course, are sad to see things that they love go, but it's a little easier to take. When it happens very quickly at the rate that Seattle has grown, it does feel like it's vanishing. It feels like, poof, something else is gone.
I've frequented most of the old parts of Ballard. I've stopped at Louis on the late night. I liked the People's Pub, but now Skoll is there. And I do business with this new beer hall. They buy a bunch of my food for their menu. And so, interestingly enough, even just in the last 2 years, there's been a new source for me to sell my products, and something else that continues along the heritage lines of this being a Scandinavian community. I think that kind of indicates that even though we're losing things, like the Copper Gate and the Viking and, you know, these historic watering holes particularly, the fluidity of change, it's tough to oversing how that all works. A city that's this prosperous is gonna have those changes. Yeah, there's market forces at work. There's corporations that are gonna come in and buy huge sectors of land. But if the people go to their government and say, this is not what we want to preserve these parts of our city and our neighborhood, that change can often be affected. Ballard is one of the vital historic communities in Seattle, and seeing it preserve that history and then still participate in New Seattle is how it can ultimately hold on to that history and speak to this story.
I think it's important for your children and grandchildren to know that where they came from. Now it's just a mess. That's my opinion.
Yuppies are taking Ballard, they now think it's cool. And they're kicking out the old bots who drive slow and drool. And they're pushing house prices right through the roof. And it's suburban sprawl it's creating. We're strip malls so ugly they make Linwood look good. For the town, it is a change.